my own Garms.
There seems to be a lot of parallels with how that trend kind of went and what climbing is now.
Yeah.
Arc'teryx is the new Supreme, basically. Like in city centres, so like I climb at the depot a lot here, and especially on like student nights, everyone is flexing. Well trendy, yeah. Okay. But I also have this theory that the worse someone was dressed, the better climber they were.
Yes, my pals, I'm Thomas Griffin, and you are locked into another episode of My Own Garms. This week, we've got the pleasure of Ben Greenwood. Ben's worked in the world of clothing for a while now in many different guises. He's modelled, consulted, and done loads of ace creative stuff. He's got a couple of beautifully put together social accounts at GRNIE15 and at BenGreenie15, so check out the show notes for direct links to those. His fit pics are always bang on the money, presenting technical and streetwear with chic and avant-garde sensibilities. He's mad keen on his activities and always looks fucking cool doing them. I'm buzzing to chat to him about his life and his path into the world of Garms. If you're new around here, then make sure you subscribe to the YouTube and the podcast feeds. I'm trying to get the show up to the top of the fashion and beauty podcast charts, and new subscribers are always a massive help in making that happen. Done it? Nice one. Let's crack on with this episode. This is My Own Garms with Ben Greenwood. Ben, what's happening, man? How are you?
Cheers, man. It's a good intro that I like.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Yeah, I'll give these out after PDF documents. I think I've already sent it through, so just stick it on the LinkedIn or whatever. You in the midst of recovering from injuries at the moment?
Yeah. A couple, basically. I feel like I just came back from an ankle injury and then tore my bicep, so climbing's been a bit rough. And I was saying to you earlier, obviously I went climbing this week and I've injured my finger. I don't really know what it is at the minute, but
it's quite deep shade of purple at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit swollen as well when you compare it to the other, but hopefully not too long before I'm back.
Get some stem cells injected, man. Yeah. Speed the recovery up. So you have just got back from somewhere gorgeous. We're having a look at one of the pictures in the bonus footage. Font, Portugal. Where was your very most recent jaunt? Somewhere Scandi, was it?
Yeah, Norway last.
Okay, tell us about that.
Last Sunday, basically one of the girls that comes climbing and hiking with us, Juliet, her auntie lives over there with her husband, and they have a cabin out in the sticks.
Oh, mate! It's
pretty much. So we flew to it's called Trondheim, which is about halfway up the outside of Norway. Yeah. And then we drove, I think it's 2.5 hours to the border, basically, with Sweden, just in this cabin in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have running water. We had electricity, but no running water. Right. The toilet was in another cabin about 10 metres away. But it was such a beautiful place. There was just reindeer running wild. We saw loads of reindeer.
Wild, mate.
We actually saw one of the evenings, I just heard, I thought I'd left the oven on. Right. Heard a bit of a scuffling noise, didn't really know what it was, and went and looked out the window, and there's a little family of wolverine, small bears, but they look like small bears but with long arms. Fucking hell, man. Which obviously being inside the cabin was quite beautiful to see them. Yeah, but going to the toilet after that was scary. They were around because they're really vicious. But
did you not even know that they had that particular animal in that country, or did you know that they were about?
We'd been googling about bears, right? And we noticed that we were kind of in bear territory, but they were saying it's extremely rare we'd actually see them. And then we were reading through other animals, and wolverine was one of them. And again, we kind of thought nothing of it. Yeah. Until we saw them, and then we were a bit shit. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd know a wolverine if I saw one. I'm thinking X-Men and a Napoleon Dynamite reference are my two wolverine experiences. They're like honey badger looking things.
Yeah. So I had to Google it, and I wasn't 100% what it was. But when we were looking at these animals, and I was like, that is definitely what they are.
Okay. And fashion-wise, when you were up there, I know we're not in the very depths of winter now, but I imagine it was a few degrees colder than it is here.
It was minus 14. So we rented a car to get from the airport out, and it was a hybrid Toyota. Yeah. But on the last day, when we woke up in the morning to drive back to the airport, the battery had frozen over. But you can't jump start it because it's a hybrid car, so it doesn't let you put it into neutral. It's just battery's dead. Yeah, take to a dealership. Yeah. So I was literally we looked under the bonnet. I was literally wiping the battery, just to have a look. No idea about cars or anything. I'm useless. Then got back in it. We just pulled someone over actually to try and help us. Yeah. Got back in it and pressed the start button, and that time it started.
I thought you were going to say you wrapped it up in a And Wonder Pertex down jacket for half an hour to warm it up.
But no, that was just on me. I wasn't giving up my warm.
So were you suitably layered then when you were over there? Were you in multiple, your biggest coats?
Yeah, well, most layers basically.
Right.
Like long johns, like thermal tops, a hoodie, and then just like the Montbell, Superior down jacket. Like everyone goes for with like Arc'teryx Beta LT from a few years ago over the top.
Okay.
That seems to be enough. Gloves and a hat.
Yeah, lofty insulation, man. It sounds toasty even hearing about it.
Yeah. There were points where I was too warm. Which in minus 14, I never would have imagined.
Impressive, man.
We actually flew back. We had a layover in Copenhagen. And we got off the plane in Copenhagen. And like, do you know when you're on holiday and you walk off and you're like, oh, it's warm when you walk out the plane? We got that and I checked the temperature and it was 10 degrees. But because it was 24 degrees warmer than where we'd been. Yeah, it felt roasted.
All relative. So tell me a little bit about professional life. You've gone freelance in the last
about
4 months ago? Yeah. Were you staying busy in the clothing world?
Yeah, so like until last month I had loads on. This month's been a bit quiet. I think obviously with Christmas coming up, everyone's got everything they need. Still been doing a little bit of modelling, but the like consulting stuff and creative stuff's gotten a bit quiet.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of just enjoying the freedom. Like I'm climbing when I want, going to the gym when I want.
Yeah.
Going getting coffee when I want. It's just nice not being like tied to a shop. Or I was work from home before that, so not being tied to like my room for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and the variety. What kind of people, companies, brands, collectives are you working with at the moment?
Like quite a wide variety. A lot of it's quite commercial, where I make the money. Like I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say.
Okay, all right.
But I've done some stuff with people who work with like Clarks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those companies pay really well, but they're like big conglomerates and it's a bit less interesting.
Yeah.
I was contacted by a Tech Hunter magazine actually the other day, and that's one of my favourite Instagram accounts. And I'm hoping we've not done any work together yet, but I'm hoping something transpires from that because I don't want to tell them that, but I'd do that for free.
Okay.
Rep your ends.
So you are from North Manchester, East Lancs-ish.
Bury is the town.
Bury,
if you know Bury. Like Bury and Ramsbottom's a village that's next to it.
Rammy.
Yeah, Rammy lad.
All right.
When I grew up, obviously, it's quite good links to Manchester and stuff. So I say most of my like physical influence came from Manchester rather than Bury. Bury's a bit of a nothing town these days.
Close to where you can get outside, which is obviously an influence on.
Especially Rammy. I can like walk. I can go for a hike up Holcombe Hill, Peel Tower.
Okay, I think I've been up there.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people I speak to know Peel Tower. But I can walk there from mine. And then if I want to drive to like, there's a couple of like good reservoirs that are like 15-minute drive, and then to the peaks it's 40 minutes, or even to Snowdon it's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get out and about. My mum lives over in Lytham.
Yeah.
In Blackpool as well, so I go up and visit my mum a lot. And then when I'm at my mum's, it's easy to get up to the lakes. So quite good connections to everything.
Lovely, mate. I know you're a big Burnley football fan.
Yeah.
Do most people in Bury support? Well, Bury's a difficult team at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But is there many Burnley fans around where you are?
Ramsbottom, because it's next junction on the motorway. It's basically Burnley. And a lot of my friends and family support Burnley as well.
Yeah.
So.
Tell us a little bit about the effect that had on your choice of clothing as a youth. Was it football kits for Christmas when you were little? Yeah,
but football kits, not Stone Island, not like Sergio Tacchini, anything like that. It was all like actual football kits. I used to play football a lot as well, so I think that gave me more of like the sportswear influence. Because a lot of what I like is quite technical now, but I like the idea of being able to like play footy at the park and then go into town and get a coffee and something, or like now my lifestyle more like I'm going running later, so I've got like the shoes I'm going running on in, but I can wear them day to day, and I like things that kind of cross over from different areas of my lifestyle, and I don't want to have to have like 4 pairs of shoes with me for different events and stuff like that.
Nice, man. And when you started going to the football, I don't know, what age would you have been when you first started going to the match?
I went when I was in primary school, and I've had season tickets with my dad and my brother since I was 12, 13, something like that. So,
and did the stuff that you were seeing people wearing on the terraces like kind of light that fashion light bulb up for you?
Yeah, I like to appreciate other kind of genres of fashion as well. So
Right.
like as I mentioned a bit earlier about when I was at End, and we all used to speak about clothes all the time, even if it wasn't something that I was personally buying. I was still really interested.
In other people's takes on it, and what
Yeah,
interests them.
yeah.
Same, man.
I spent a lot of time on the internet as a teen, so I think kind of combining that real life experience with what I was seeing online, it kind of gave me something like physical. Because a lot of what I see online was stuff that you'd like Acronym, you just never see it in Manchester, maybe not even in the UK. And, but then seeing like Stone Island and like Shadow Project, and that was kind of like my like introduction to like being able to touch something.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of clothes for me.
Yeah.
I don't really like buying things online.
Really?
Yeah. I know a lot of the world's going that way, but so there's times when I'll try things on in stores and then I'll end up buying it online.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm trying to think if I've ever bought anything online that I've not touched or seen in person before.
That's nuts, man. Because that's like 90% of what I do, and it seems strange that someone who's such... Because how old are you? Like 28-ish? So you're a kind of digital native, born with the internet, or at least getting to an age where you start using the internet and it was there. I had maybe 5 or 6 years of my life before that kind of clicked into gear, and there probably wasn't e-commerce where you could buy things from it there. But to hear that from someone that is so... that digital... fashion is so ingrained in, sounds odd. Like,
yeah.
Do you think you're a one-off for that, or do you know a lot of people like that?
I think I'm a bit of a one-off.
Yeah,
I think
it sounds like
my appreciation of like brick and mortar stores. I used to work in retail.
Yeah,
and I used to love it. I used to love the store I worked in, ended in Newcastle, and then 7 store in Liverpool. And like the aesthetic of the stores and like the stories they were telling and like the curation and stuff like that. And online, I feel like that is quite lost. Even the shops I do shopping online, I'm not there to be inspired. I'm there to get in and out, just to buy something. And but then when I go into stores, I like to look around. I like to touch everything. I like to see where brands are and why, and like brand adjacencies. And I'm interested in like the whole experience.
Yeah, mad man. So we touched on Scandinavia before. You've just been up to Norway. I know you're a pretty well-travelled lad. Some of it through your work in fashion. Which places have you been to that you found particularly inspiring in terms of clothes?
Tokyo has to be number one.
Okay.
It's just another... Everything else that I say is good, and then there's Tokyo, which is just like another level above anything else I can talk about.
When was it that you went over there?
6 years ago now. I was there for 5 weeks, about 5 weeks, and kind of did Tokyo for a week and a bit, down to Kyoto for about a week, down to Osaka for about a week, and then back up to Tokyo for a week and a bit. And yeah, that was pretty much just a holiday. I didn't really have much work on, but I absolutely loved it. Just the whole lifestyle over there. Everyone is so passionate about everything. Yeah, not just fashion, but like design in general. Yeah. Like the best coffee I've ever had in my life was probably there. The best food I've ever, even burgers, like not Japanese food, like burgers. The best burger I've ever had in my life was there. Like the most interesting architecture I've ever seen was there. I went hiking to, in Kyoto, the Inari Gates, the orange gates, everyone always gets a photo there. Yeah. And just like the hike and like all the other people that were hiking, they just seemed so much better at it. Yeah. Everyone just seems to be good at everything and so passionate about everything.
Yeah. You put that excellence down to that passion, like the hyper niche passion.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think it's a big thing over there. If you do something, you're doing it the best you can. There's no like half-hearted, like, I'm just going to give this a go and see. It's like, I'm going to do it properly.
Quite different to the culture in our country, I think.
Everything works over there. Everything's on time.
Chorley, where I'm from, has got the town slogan is, we used to be Beware. It was Chorley Beware, which is ridiculous. And they thought they had a bit of a rebrand to Be Aware. They thought that was a little bit more welcoming to have on it. Everyone kicked off. It's like, that's not the town motto, it's Beware. But some people were saying that the most apt one would be Chorley, Be Right. And I think that pretty much
like that.
sums up the kind of half-assed, it'll be all right kind of thing that we live in. But yeah, Japanese excellence, man. It sounds pretty inspiring. I saw recently on Insta that you'd sold your last remaining Acronym jacket, implying that this is a bit of an end of an era type of thing. I know Acronym elicits a real fervent fandom in a lot of fashion heads, you included.
Yeah.
But but it was something that really passed me by a little bit. Tell me a bit about that brand and your relationship with it.
Like I said earlier, I spent a lot of time on the internet as a teen, and that was the brand where I just always wanted it. I was like everything at that time, like 6-7 years ago, up until then, every single thing they did, I would have had that in my wardrobe.
Yeah. And
it was also interesting. It's kind of said, like, I spent a lot of time on the internet. I'm quite into like technology. So I got my new phone today. That's exciting. I like modern tech.
Yeah.
And Acronym kind of like encompassed that within clothing. So like I had a jacket where if I was out and about, I had headphones on. It had like a magnetic strip, so I could just like put them on the strip, chat to someone, then like put them back on and be off. It had like a zip where if you had the jacket zipped up and you wanted to take it off like quickly, you just pull the zip up and to the right, and it just came off.
Yeah, yeah.
It had like a phone pocket here.
I've seen these ones.
Yeah, so if I was like out and about and got a phone call, I could just like whiz the phone out into my hand and answer. And
ninja energy.
Yeah, big like ninja goth, futuristic vibes. But the main guy who is the designer, Elson Hugh, he was like a big inspiration because so it was like the early 2000s. In like the late 90s, he had a design agency called Acronym.
Okay.
And they worked with like Burton, is it AK-47, like they're really the technical range. They worked with Oakley. I think they worked with Arc'teryx Valence. He worked with like Stone Island. That's what Shadow Project is. But he just used to like send off these like design packs to all these companies, and they'd like pick and choose bits and put them onto jackets and stuff like that. And then in like the early 2000s, he was like, right, we're going to do everything we want to do, like as experimental as we want, like no accountant saying, no, you can't do that. Okay. And that's like what Acronym became. But he put out this like, so there was kit 1 and kit 2, and it was like a big folded bag, and it'd have like a jacket in. It might have been a CD, but it might have been a floppy disk. It was like old, I can't remember. Mad. It had like an instruction manual. I'm trying to think what else. And they were like $1.50 a pop. Yeah. But I think there was only like Pegs and Sons, maybe like Hanon in Aberdeen. There was only like a few stores in Europe that took the risk on it because it's an unheard of brand. Yeah. But then that was kind of like I think he sold a few, but he made like no money. But he was like, I'm going to carry on doing this. This is like my baby, and that like drive and passion and like commitment to
your own beliefs.
Yeah, I think that's something that really like inspires me as a whole in fashion. Like, even though I like all this kind of like technical stuff, I love like Rick Owens because it's just like that is what he's passionate about. That's what he loves. That's what he does,
and it's unwavering and kind of unchanged by current or tiny trend cycles. And,
I think that is I obviously love Acronym and don't want to like badmouth it, but I think that is kind of why I've moved away in the last couple of years, because obviously as the brand's grown, the team's grown, and it does seem to lean into trends a little bit more. Right. And I do kind of miss the old Acronym of like, we don't give a fuck.
It seems like one of them things that you can, I mean, when I was 14 and 15, if someone had said there's a jacket where you can pop a phone out of your sleeve, then that would be the most exciting thing in the world to me. But as you get a little bit older, I don't know, maybe an age thing that stuff does slightly concern you less. But I mean, he's an older dude, isn't he? And I know the people that are still super passionate about it. They're in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah, it's even like I always see John Mayer wearing it. John Mayer wears a lot of it. There's an old picture actually. It used to be my laptop screensaver of Robin Williams wearing an Acronym jacket. So I think it might be Acronym pants as well, and like Solomon's and like sort of like technical beanie and everything. And
he's the nuts jacket aficionado, isn't he, Robin Williams? Yeah. Like I, as a kid, I'd only ever seen him in Mrs. Doubtfire and Jumanji and stuff like that. And now you get the mood boards posting. When it's big jacket season, there's always a Robin Williams look in there. I saw Proper Magazine had a North Face picture of him this morning.
Organic Lab's one of my favourite Instagram accounts, and they're always posting the Robin Williams throwback pictures. It's a cool guy though. It's not a odd person to have in that. It really that sort of is, man. As well,
he just looks like a big, like rugged sailor bloke, doesn't he? To me, like he doesn't look like he'd be into high fashion. But
have you seen him in the flame shirt?
Yeah,
I love that picture.
We'll flash that up on screen.
That's not me.
obviously from what you've told us, you've always been into it or long been into it.
Mm-hmm.
But has there been a fashion era that you've lived through that you look back on and think, nah, that's not me?
There's a lot of clothes I bought where I've thought this isn't for me, like long term. But I like to think it's all like part of the journey and part of learning. And I feel like I wouldn't know what I like as much now if I'd never made the mistakes of buying things that I wasn't as keen on in the past. So I'd like to say no.
Okay.
There's probably some pictures you can show me. Where
I was going to say, is that I've not done the deep dive on early Facebook or whatever it is, and dug out the real old ones.
So there's one that always comes up with like my mates and stuff, which is I used to have really long hair, but I had like a man bun I was just wearing a bum.
Okay, yeah.
But I was at Park Life Festival. I had a bucket hat on, some like fake Ray-Ban Wayfarers, whatever they're called, a Peter Storm jacket, and the hair down, very like Oasis-esque, and that's like a bad picture. I'm like, I wish I'd never gone through that little phase.
Well, we'll dig that one out, flash it up on screen.
I might have to send you that one.
Yeah, man.
I think I've hidden it everywhere I can.
But yeah, it's all about that experimentation, and if you're going to be an adult that's into clothes, then I think it's important for you to have had those formative experimental phases in your life.
Yeah, and obviously, like I'm very active on Instagram and social media, and I know there are a lot of like bad and good that comes from it. But one of the big things that I feel bad for, especially like the younger generation, the TikTok generation, is they're not allowed to make those mistakes anymore.
Yeah, you just get flamed online.
Like I remember when I was like 17, I had this pink cardigan, and like imagine a 17-year-old doing that now. They'd never hear the end of it, and it's almost like that anxiety of like being able to try things seems a bit scary.
But it's a good way to document the story, isn't it? Like that's one of the positives of social media, I think, being able to look back over 10 years or whatever, 12 years, however long Instagram's been going now, and see that progression. I find that quite a nice thing.
Yeah, I think that's something that comes up a lot when I'm with old friends who do have kind of different styles. We often go back to like, oh, remember when you wore that? Yeah. Like, what a knob.
Yeah.
But it is great to look back at and think like, I used to love like Common Project, wool trousers, Stone Island, but like a minimal, like just a white jumper and stuff like that. And I think without that sort of stuff, I wouldn't appreciate like the fit of things that I buy now. So
yeah, I think it's really cool as well that in some of the pictures that we looked up in the bonus footage, you've got stuff that you've bought in the last 6 months, but you're also wearing a jumper that you have had since another era of your interest, and you make it work in a new context. I think that's a healthy place to be.
Yeah. When I buy things now more so than when I was a bit younger, I do try and think, could I wear this in 5-10 years?
Yeah.
I do have the aim of buying things that I'll only wear for a long time. But I think that's also why sometimes it looks like I just wear different versions of one outfit. Just playing it safe.
That's style, man. Yeah, coherency. Let's have a little touch on climbing and style, because I know you've been bouldering for a good few years now, maybe since before the most recent explosion, big boom in climbing. Were you doing it? I'm obviously not doing it first, but you've been doing it a while, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think bouldering, indoor bouldering as indoor bouldering, I feel like there's not many people who, because I do enjoy climbing outside, and I do enjoy like that old fashioned sort of like just being really strong on really small holds. But my thing is a bit more kind of like the modern like competition, bit more jumping around and like, and when I started, that wasn't really a thing. Yeah. Unless you were that good in doing a competition, whereas I'm not great compared to other boulders.
Yeah. But in terms of, I mean, I've been going to climbing walls for probably 15 years now, and I've seen a massive, massive change in what people wear there. When I first started going climbing, I was trying to not look like a climber because they looked terrible. Like I used to go climbing in jeans, probably quite tight one, probably elastic filled, tightish jeans. But now you go down the wall and it's a fucking fashion parade, man. People look sick down there. Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, definitely. Especially like in city centres. So like I climb at the depot a lot here and rock over and stuff like that. And especially on like student nights, everyone is flexing. Well trendy. Yeah. Okay. And I don't think it counts anymore, but I used to have this theory that the worse someone was dressed, the better climber they were.
Yeah, man. I was climbing at Armscliff in Leeds with this dude called Andy Crome. Beast, local beast, you could climb everything at that one crag. And he'd made his own pair of trousers, just like drawn a pair of trousers on a piece of material and cut it out twice and then sewed them both together. And like could not give a fuck any less. Like, you know, because he was such a beast, he could kind of carry it off. And I think that theory holds.
Yeah, I feel like if you go outdoor climbing, you still see it's usually older guys that have that sort of mentality of like, I just don't care what I wear.
Yeah. But it's mad to see that such an unfashionable pursuit as it was 10 years ago has bled into what is now almost high fashion. Like even the cuts of trousers and stuff like that. Boulders were wearing gusset crotched baggy trousers, and now you see it everywhere, man. You walk around Manchester city centre and most people are in climbing trousers. It's wild.
And I think it leans over to like the hiking as well, like Solomon's and Arc'teryx jacket. They were like trail running shoes and like a actual climbing up, like depending on the model, like a mountaineering or climbing jacket.
Yeah.
If you walk around the northern quarter now, it's the uniform, isn't it?
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
everyone in it all. But it's weird that that's the trend that people have like taken over in fashion.
Yeah, man.
For me, it does remind me of when I was a bit younger, like skateboarding, like maybe 10, 12 years ago, something like that.
You were into that, right?
Kind of, yeah, but more from the fashion side.
Yeah.
I did skateboard, but I was definitely a soft boy fashion skateboarder. But like at the skate park, like again, like the lads who were wearing like the baggiest jeans you've ever seen, like old big thick DC shoes, like they were the best skateboarders. Like the worst dressed skateboarders were the better skateboarders.
Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of parallels with like how that trend kind of went and what climbing is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Arc'teryx is the new Supreme, basically.
We mentioned before we started, I think you said you'd gone from 63 kilo. Well, I don't want to get the weights wrong, but you've gone from
63 down to 58 in the last like 2-3 months.
In terms of percentage, that's a big fucking drop off. But talk to me about changing body shapes, because I know you exercise a lot, go to the gym, and how clothes fit. I've seen you with your top off recently, and you're totally shredded, 0% body fat.
Yeah.
But I think your natural state is, like me, skinny lad. And if you want to be anything different from that, you have to put the fucking work in to do it.
A while ago, I was trying to get bigger. I was eating nearly 4,000 calories a day. My brother's big into the gym, so he helps me a lot with it, and some of my friends as well. I was eating nearly 4,000 calories a day. I was going to the gym or climbing every day. I thought that was like the answer. Went on the scales like a month later to check, thinking like, I've got to put a few kilos on here, like of muscle. Like thinking I'm going to be a bit bigger, and I'd lost 2 kilograms. So yeah, like naturally like skinny boy. But then I've got into running in the last 6 months, year or so. Yeah. And obviously, being like tall and skinny has really helped with the running.
Okay. But in terms of the way that clothes fit as your body changes, like, have you changed the way that you've dressed? Is there an item of clothing that you really loved once that doesn't fit you properly anymore?
I'm quite lucky. Well, I think my style and the fact that I wear kind of oversized clothes. Yeah. Not really. But I think coming from being a tall, skinny lad, I've always when I'd wanted tighter fitting clothes when I was younger. Yeah. It was never really an option, because to get something that had enough length and like enough length and kind of fit, 'cause I have quite broad shoulders, fit my shoulders, but to be like tighter just wasn't a thing, because I was like, especially a few years back, I'm not this now, but I was like a 28 waist, but then my shoulders were like, I think it was like when I measured it was like 36 inches. Yeah. Just like my shoulders were almost double my waist size, so it was just like unreasonable to get something that was like slim fitting.
It's nuts, and pants in particular, I think you really do struggle to get a waist and a leg length that works. It's an uphill battle. Have you got any brands that are your go-tos that you know are just going to fit your body shape well?
Unfortunately, it's an expensive one, but Prada. There's a Prada pants that fit well, which I was a bit gutted about that I have to spend so much money. But Prada, Maharishi, just stuff that's oversized and stuff that I can tie. Obviously, like I said, I've worked in the past with Mellow. And when Ted's designing stuff with Mellow and we chat about it, it's something that we do consider, because Ted's a sort of tall, skinny lad as well. So to get that kind of like stack height as well, which I think is quite a nice look. You do have to buy things that can be a bit weird.
I guess that might have fed into your retail habits, to going into shops and touching and feeling and trying on, because if you're just going to purchase something on the internet 9 out of 10 times, it's probably going to be a weird fit.
Yeah, and especially my body type, it's like they'll be like, this model's 6'2" wearing a size medium. I'll buy a size medium. It's like a crop top. I feel like there's just no. I feel like especially like End and Essence and all the ones where I read the description. They're just nowhere near what I am, even if they're the same height as me.
Yeah, I find that really helpful when brands do tell you what shape the person that's wearing it in the e-com shots is. But what they don't tell you is that they've got a fucking bulldog clip on the back of the neck and stuff like that. So it's a tricky one, isn't it? I think, Yeah,
I like, I think it's Farfetch who do like full measurements. Like they'll do like the shoulders, the top to bottom, and they like measure like every single, like if you go in, I think it's like A to G of measurements.
Right.
So that's like a really good one for trying to find the right thing. But I'll still, even after reading that, I'll be like, oh, this might fit me. So I'll then go and try it on somewhere and go and feel it and check it's right. But yeah.
Perfectionist, mate.
Top 3 selected.
You've worked with a lot of brands. You've shopped a lot. Can you give me an international top 3 bricks and mortar retail spots? They can all be UK or they can be a bit further afield.
So the top 3, obviously I knew this question was coming. I had a little think about it. So my top 3 were going to be Eliminator in Tokyo, which does like the acronym and like the technical stuff and a lot of that side of things. It was going to be Union LA, but the one in Tokyo.
Okay.
Which is a bit more like, so like they do like Visvim, I think they do Capital, they do a lot of the Japanese stuff, but the actual like interior of the store, it was like all brushed concrete. It was like lovely. The staff were really nice. I really appreciated that store a lot when I was there. And then the other one was going to be the Izumiyaki Honpli Face store.
So basically Japan.
Yeah, but so when I was thinking like, if you don't include Japan,
all right.
Kayo in the Stockholm one, I slightly preferred. The Copenhagen one's obviously open as well now. But not only like the curation of brands, but like the interior was cool. It wasn't too safe, but it also wasn't like, so like Dover Street Market I like a lot, but I just feel like I'm in a gallery rather than a store.
Yeah.
And like this Kayo store, it's like interesting, but like the staff are still friendly. It's still like, it's not uncomfortable. It's not too like highbrow. And then just the brands they stock are just cool.
And as someone that's worked in retail, do you think that the importance of the staff in a place is kind of what makes it to a great extent?
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like 85% is like the staff, and the other 15% is the interior and like the layout and the merchandising. But yeah, that's another one why I love Seven Store in Liverpool. I obviously used to work there, but that was like the staff are all friendly. They're all bothered about fashion. You can go in that store. It's quite a quiet store. You can go in and they've got enough staff where you can chat to someone for an hour, and they're not having to like run around and do something else. And it's just like a lovely team. And
it's ace, isn't it, man? Yeah. I only went in for the first time about 4 or 5 months ago when I was over in Liverpool for a day, and it was the morning of the Wales Bonner Adidas drop when they had them shiny silver ones and
they were good then.
The brown and red SL72s, is it? Mm-hmm. They're the ones that I got. But the lad that I spoke to in there for like 45 minutes was just mint. I was totally buzzing for the rest of my day. Yeah. Like I bought a pair of trainers that I think are sick, and I was just kind of glowing from this retail experience that I'd had. So yeah, big up them dudes.
Yeah. And then the other one I was going to say was probably, you said you had him on the pod, I think this morning, but Tim from This Thing of Ours is great. Man. That's another one where I love being able to go in and like touch all these brands that I've never seen before. Tim's like a lovely guy. He's always there to like chat about things. He's not like sales pushy, which is something that does put me off. Yeah. And just like he's just so knowledgeable. I feel like every time I go in and talk to him, I learn something. And I think that's a big thing for me, is like learning not only about what I'm interested in, but other people's interests, and trying to understand why people like things that they do.
He said some really interesting things this morning about the kind of joy he gets from seeing a customer go away with something that they're really happy with. Mm-hmm. And he'd prefer it if they didn't buy it, if they weren't going to be entirely buzzing off it. And he gets the same kind of endorphin hit from someone else buying something that he might have got at one time when he was buying in there, which I thought was a dead nice way to have a shop.
Yeah. I think that was a big thing when I worked in retail as well, was because obviously they're quite expensive stores. It's not people just trying to buy like a t-shirt to wear once. And like these regular customers who would come in and they buy like a few things and they come back a week later and be like, oh, cheers for this hoodie, like this is great about it, that's great about it, and seeing their excitement, you almost get like the same sort of buzz that they do. I think that applies like when I'm doing like a lot of creative stuff as well. Like if we do a photo shoot that I really like, and then I see someone who doesn't know that I've been involved with it, like post it on Instagram, and they're like, oh, this is great, like I love this because of this and that. And it's nice to see that people not appreciate, but people like have similar values to me and like get excited about things that I do. And
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I guess that comes down to community, I think, doesn't it? I think we'll touch on that when we talk about the Insta and stuff in a little bit. But next question I've got for you is about mixing hard and soft. You wear a lot of functional, traditionally masculine shapes, like the technical jackets and stuff, like softened by flowy, softer fabrics. Is this combination something you've always liked playing around with, or something you've kind of lent more into recently?
I think it's something I've always done, to be honest.
All right.
I think, as we spoke before about like some of my influence coming from like the football and stuff like that, where it's a lot of like rugged old men.
Yeah.
But then, like I'm quite a soft boy. Like I like sad music and I like quite like emotional things, and like I like art and I like design in general.
Yeah.
So I think being able to like appreciate like the softer things and things that are beautiful and things that are cool, I think are quite different. But being able to try and like combine them is something that interests me quite a lot.
Finding the tension between those in an outfit, I guess, can result in something that is beautiful, can't it?
Yeah, one of my favourite collaborations of like the last like year or two is it's been ongoing, but the Kiko Asics stuff, Kiko Kostadinov and Asics. And I think he's really good at finding that in between of like a technical running shoe, but also here is quite like beautiful like concepts and ideas behind everything. It can be quite dark, but still in like a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So like I do really appreciate those sort of collaborations.
But equally, you're picking pieces that you put together that aren't collaborative, that kind of become a collaboration of your own, don't you? You know, if you're wearing a soft, flowy on-place pant with something else, it gives that same feeling that you get in one of them collaborations, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's why I like it, is because it feels homely or safe. It feels like something that I'd do myself, and that's something I do try to consider in my work. Is I don't like anything being too, I don't know what the word for it is, like too uniform almost. Like if someone's wearing like full head to toe Arc'teryx, that's not them. It's not their personal style. That's the brand.
Prescribed.
So I like to try and avoid that, and that's why I try and mix things that people wouldn't usually mix.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that represents me, and it also keeps me away from becoming like a consumer.
Yeah.
Zombie.
Yeah. Nice, man. So modelling, I've seen a few bits and pieces about recently. I think the standout was the Moncler. Was it shot in Italy, that one?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that came about. I know you've done other stuff in the past, and about that shoot in particular.
That one, it was literally just through Instagram. And I don't know where the mutual connection came from, but the agency just contacted me and were like, "Are you free on these dates?" It didn't really say like the full story, and I was like, "Yeah, I think so." Like, can I get a bit more information? And they're like, "Yeah, it's Moncler Grenoble. We'll fly you out to Milan, shoot in Val di Mello, which is actually quite famous for bouldering.
Okay.
Which is like really beautiful, like mountainous area. It's like crystal clear blue water. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Stunning, mate.
trying to act dead calm about it. I was like, yeah, get me there now. But yeah, that's definitely the biggest shoot I've been a part of.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I love being out and about while shooting as well. A bit more fun. I've done a little bit of studio stuff and like catwalk stuff, but I prefer just being like doing things that I would normally do. Yeah.
Did it feel markedly different to you? Was the team around you, did you have full makeup, stylist tweaking the minutiae of your outfit? Did it feel like big production?
Yeah, but similar to how some other things I've worked on have been.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was like outrageously different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the makeup and the hair was... And also the Italians were a bit more brutal, where if something wasn't right, they'd tell me, "Look more handsome." Yeah.
That was a terrible Italian accent, wasn't it? But still.
Yeah, I got look less sad a few times.
Yeah, I always get stop looking like you want to fucking kill me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the one look I can do. If I smile, my eyeballs close and I look like a fucking goofball.
I have that with my eyeballs closed whenever I'm happy. So
Moncler, like, a historied brand, but the trainers that they've put out in the past couple of years are nuts. Like the big, chunky, spike-soled things.
Yeah, the Gore-Tex ones. I had
Very
on the
nice.
shoot. I had a pair of them on, but I don't know if they're out yet. The boot version.
Okay.
And they were genuinely really cool, because I don't always think high-end brands are going to be able to do technical stuff.
Yeah.
I think it'll look good, but it might not be as good practically as some other stuff. But they were like super comfy, super soft. When it finished, I was like playing in one of the streams in them, and then my feet were bone dry at the end of it. So they were actually like, I didn't think I'd give them as much praise as I am, but it was actually really good, the apparel that I was wearing and the footwear. So
Yeah. Save up $1,000 and then cop a pair.
I think a bit more than that
Is
as
it?
well, yeah.
Nuts, man. I think I saw the trainers in the shop for like 800 or 900, so I imagine the boot versions, not
like
from
1.3, 1.4.
They look legit, man.
Yeah, one of the outfits. So the Moncler, I don't know what their actual job roles are, but like the higher ups turned up on the last day for like the last 2 hours. And I was just chatting, they were dead friendly, dead lovely. And I was chatting to one of them, and I was like, yeah, I'd love this jacket, but I'm not spending like $4,000 on it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, this outfit's like $12,000.
Yeah. A year's wage for some people. It's mad, isn't it? My mate Ash, that I do a podcast for, called Tech Powered Luxury, she's gone climbing. She's gone up to Everest Base Camp recently. And she's very much a fashion girl. But the stuff that she's been buying mountain wise, like the kind of big brand, I think there was a Dior mountain boot that had the laces tied underneath in kind of retro styling. It's fascinating, man, to see how much these big brands have lent into that aesthetic in recent years.
Yeah, I missed that with football boots. That was like back in the day. I loved tying the laces underneath football boots.
Yeah,
I used to
man.
think that put me. I was like a better footballer if I did that.
What footy boots did you have?
I had a lot of mercurials when I got a bit older, but when I was doing that, I had a pair of, they're called World Cups. We always called them Adidas World Cups, but I don't know
the
that was
ones.
the official name. But yeah, I had a pair of them when I was younger as well.
Nice. Well, my dad used to be a PE teacher. He's retired now, but whenever boots were left behind in the PE changing room, if they were a nice pair, they'd come home to me. So I had a couple of pairs of Predators. I used leaving Predators, like, I don't know if he was just half inching them from these little knob tennis classes, but football boots
Expensive as well, aren't they?
They were back then. Yeah, it was £100 plus boot when boots probably cost 40, 50 quid. But yeah, man.
I still play a little bit of five-a-side and stuff like that, and I went to buy some new boots the other week, and I couldn't go, like, the cheapest pair of like all right boots were like £100.
Okay.
Whereas like, I feel like back in the day you used to be able to get the best boots for £100.
Yeah,
It's weird to see how expensive football boots are now.
I think you'd look good in a pair of floppy-tongued Puma Kings, I reckon. I think
proper dad vibes.
Yeah. No, I think they've got they suit tall people, I think, because there's a kind of nonchalance about the way that the tongue flops. Get on eBay. Pick some bags up on there.
Even when I was looking back at like Depop and stuff like that, and I was thinking about my old football boots, and I remember having a pair of Total 90s, like silver and burgundy ones, which sounds outrageous, but they were dead nice.
Nice, mate.
And I found a pair of them on Depop for £310. So people are reselling like old football boots.
Mad. Yeah, it's a little market I've never dipped my toe into. If I play football these days, I hurt for like 6 months afterwards. I get through it, but then afterwards it's such a different form of exercise to anything else that I do.
Yeah, there's a couple of times where I've like tried to get back into 11-a-side, and I'll play on a Saturday, but then I can't go to the gym, climb or run until like the Thursday.
Yeah.
And
that's all the things that keep your head in the right place for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's just too like detrimental to the rest of my life.
Young man's sport.
Yeah.
You've got another few years in you. My football days are behind me.
I'd like to think so.
Next hype.
Tell us a bit more about your professional aspirations. I know you're kind of new to the freelance world at the moment. I know you work with a lot of different people. Do you love that variety, or would you really like to niche down and kind of concentrate in one specific direction?
I do enjoy the variety. There's like people I'd like to work with, and companies and brands I'd like to work with that I've never worked with, and I know it's achievable because friends have worked with them and stuff like that, and friends who do similar things to me. But I'm not like, I'm quite happy as I am. Just like I said earlier, like having the freedom to do what I want when I want, and I just don't want an office job. I was actually watching one of the new Harry Potters the other day, and they've the monster that like changed into what they're scared of.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
There's a lads, and his turns into like an office desk, and I was like, that would be me, like sitting in an office 9-5 Monday Friday. It's just like my hell.
I guess your lust for travel as well, because I mean, no, I'm always seeing you popping up in different places on Instagram. Like, if you can do a freelance job remotely, then that's such a blessing, man.
Yeah, that would be perfect. There's a couple of times I've thought about trying to do a job that I'm less interested in. Like when I lived in China, I taught English for a bit.
Okay.
And it was all right, but it just wasn't my long-term thing. But there's a few times I've thought about being like an English tutor online, just moving to like Southeast Asia and kind of living that almost like traveller life.
Yeah.
And I think if things ever do go downhill and I'm struggling to make money doing what I'm doing and survive, then that's probably my next move.
Digital nomad.
Yeah.
I know the mood board stuff you do. Congratulations on the 15k, by the way.
Yeah.
It's very well received on the socials. I love seeing the stuff that you post. It's always dead thoughtful and considered. Tell me what your medium-term predictions are for menswear. Is the crochet shirt I've just bought on Vinted going to be passé by this time next year? By the time it's warm enough to wear it again?
I feel like crochet shirts are always going to be in. I feel like trends are quite like minimal in terms of like something like that. I feel like it's obviously your personal style and it should be timeless. But I think this like appreciation of like sustainability, being outdoors, and like mental health. I feel like that's why climbing's had such a big influence on fashion, because in my life anyway, it's been great for my mental health. It's been great for me getting outdoors. It's been great for me meeting people like socially. Like I'll go to the gym by myself and climb for a few hours. I'll go with friends. Sometimes I'll do 1 or 2 climbs and just chat and like meet new people. And I think people are becoming more aware of like sports and mental health and lifestyle, and I think that will continue to influence fashion for a long time.
Okay.
I'm not great at predicting things like red is going to be the colour for next year. Like some of my friends come up with like Pantone 6481 is like going to be the next trend, and that's just too far away from my
big brain stuff.
But I think that in terms of like the marketing, I think as long as you can attach like a lifestyle or like a vibe or like positive aspirations or like
community.
Like if you can bring something that's more than the brand, I think that's becoming more important than ever. I feel like logo mania died a few years ago, and I feel like we're now transitioning into like the opposite of that, where it's more about the people and the community and the lifestyle and less about the branding or the product. Or I know that those things are like part of the overall branding, but in terms of like logos, I feel like no one wants a big Off-White logo on the chest anymore.
Well, we had Danny, £30 Gentleman, on the other day, and he was predicting that running clubs were going to be the future of what brands are really interested in. I know you're off to one after we finish today. Can you tell us a little bit more about the running club that you're involved with and maybe how that intersects with fashion?
Yeah, so I'm doing the Pure Sport one. I'm like a Pure Sport ambassador, so I'm quite close with like the team who run it and stuff. And
tell us about Pure Sport. So it's stuff that amplifies your recovery time, ability, kind of stuff.
And so some of the stuff they do. So like that's kind of like the roll on, and the rubs is what it's kind of it's most well known for. Looks like the stick of deodorant.
Yeah.
And it was actually the 2 lads. I think I'm pretty sure it was Grayson and James, and they were both rugby players. From what again, this is all just from what I know, but to quite a high level in South Africa. And I think Grayson was like getting injured all the time, having like cortisol shots all the time, and just like he said, from what I know, he said he was like falling apart a bit, and he was just like, this can't be healthy like long term for me. I'm just constantly injured, and he started looking into like herbal medicine and like just anything to like keep him going. He reads a lot, he reads loads, so I think he's quite interested in the science behind things working, and he just kind of wanted to bring that to everyone else. So yeah, like I take quite a lot of Pure Sport supplements at this point, and it does seem to help me with just recovering like cognitive abilities. I do like a CBD and turmeric tablet. I do one called Tonkat Ali, which is quite good for. I have like low bone density.
Okay.
And that's quite helpful for that.
With the running as well.
Yeah. I do even like with climbing and stuff. It's quite heavy impact sport. Obviously, jumping and always like.
Yeah.
But I think that like crosses over to fashion, because these things are helping people get a better lifestyle in the same way that I think a lot of fashion brands now and the way things are going, people buy things to try and have that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think that's where these like run clubs and the healthy lifestyle kind of joins fashion, because it's all one thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, it seems to be going from strength to strength. The numbers that you were mentioning before that are coming down are just fucking wild, man. Like hundreds of people en masse, and there's a real power in numbers, isn't there, I think?
Yeah, and it's great just to see, as we've touched on community before, it's great to see not even me making new friends, but also like seeing other people make new friends. And like, there's people I know through Instagram who I'm not particularly close with who have come down by themselves, and they're now of like a new friend group, and it's just great. I'm a big like ambassador for like everyone should be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really like pushes that, the run clubs.
Man. Yeah, it seems to bring out the best in people as well, I think. Big up Pure Sport, reach out, help me reignite my ailing football career. Final question for you, Ben. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you care about clothes?
It's got to be like 12 or something.
Yeah, off the scale.
Especially personally. I'm interested in what other people wear, but I'd like to think I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, why is he wearing that? I think I'm more positive. I'm like, oh, why is he wearing that? And I'm more interested in things. And I just love clothes. I love talking about clothes. I love brands. I love design. And I love learning. I love learning about things.
Yeah. And clothes is your medium to fill your head. Never any downtime. Have you got decent pajamas?
No, I have some like Calvin Klein shorts that I wear, but
still a 10 then, even when you're in bed.
Yeah. I'm very much like my boxers all have holes in, and I'll go and spend like a load of money on a new jacket, and all my boxers will like save us. But yeah, pajama, that's a tough one. I shouldn't see that come in. What pajamas do you have?
Well, I tend to go boxers, but when the months get a little bit colder, I've got Marks and Spencer's string vests, and I think I've had and tried a lot of pajama bottoms, but there's some Uniqlo tie waist ones that are pinstripe, blue and white. I'm into them. I've
looked at Uniqlo a few times. I think if I'm delving into pajamas, that's where I'd go.
Yeah.
I do like bedding though. I have a Tekla bedding, which is like probably a silly amount of money I spent on bedding.
There's a lot of fabric in it. Like, I've got Ralphie bed sheets. Horsepower on the fucking pillowcases. But they're second hand off eBay.
I have Ralphie bath towels.
Nice, mate.
I think I got them from TK Maxx years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
Built to last.
Yeah.
Nice one, man. Thanks a million for doing it. Appreciate it a lot. And big up.
Cheers, mate. It's been good fun. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Go on, Ben, lad. Top bloke, top episode. Now, if you lot enjoyed that and you want to support the channel financially, then get onto our Patreon page. We've got 2 donators at the moment. Shout out Bobby and Bernardo, love you guys. We were taking home £7 a month, but the exchange rates fucked us, and now we're back on 6. Anyway, if you want bonus video content and other ace good stuff, then head over to patreon.com/myyounggarms and chuck us a few quid for the work that we put in. Big thanks to Steve over at St. Combs for sending over the lovely Nose Project's Fair House sweater that I wore in the recording of this episode, and the Nose Project's Adidas Campus. Very thoughtful gifts. Appreciate you. And that's about that for this week. We'll be back in your feeds with some fit pick breakdowns in a couple of days. See you then.